Hello everyone! Thank you for joining in for our wonderful Intro to Python stream. Super excited to get this started. I love Beginners Week. I love teaching things from scratch so y'all can get a refresher or you can learn some really cool new skills. So I am very excited. I see some of you are excited as well. I love the snake emojis. Hello. Ooh, nice to see you again. Thank you for joining in. If y'all haven't already, make sure you check in at the link that I have posted for you. I'll also paste it in chat just to make it super duper easy for you to be able to check in. It helps y'all if you are able to be on the check-ins so that we can have all of your swag and all your points ready for you. So, with that, we are going to get started on our Intro to Python schedule, and this is going to be a 2-hour stream. My streams usually do go closer to the 2-hour mark, but I'm a little tired today, so maybe we don't hit all the maybe I just don't yap as much as I usually do, but we will still hit all the content that I planned for today and that I've had in my lovely slides for y'all. But I know sometimes it can get a little bit boring with slides, so I've tried my best to just make the slides very visual, and most of the time we're just going to be on VS Code, which, by the way, I do have a slide for installation instructions, but if y'all want to get a jump start, just go ahead and download VS Code. You can use any code editor, but I find VS Code pretty easy and very versatile to use. So we're going to be doing a lot of coding today. We're actually mainly going to be doing coding, so I would strongly recommend that you get that started and ready to go. But with that out of the way, I'm going to take the check-in link down. Hopefully y'all have checked in by now. If you haven't, no worries. Just go to the schedule and find the check-in link. If somebody needs it, just let me know and I can paste it again. But with that, let's get started. Welcome to Python. We are doing a quick little introduction. And yes, this is the Python programming language and not the Python animal. Interactive. Ooh. Is this Iro from MLH? I wonder. But hello, I'm Varshni. I'm a coach at Major League Hacking, and a fun fact about me is that I've moved 13 times in my life. I'm a coach, and I go by she/her pronouns. If y'all haven't come to one of my streams yet, welcome. I do a couple of streams every Global Hack Week, and I'm really excited to meet y'all and share some time with you. If you are returning, welcome back. I hope you are having a great time. So, with that out of the way, I want to get started a little bit about why we want to learn Python. So, I feel like Python is a pretty common language that people talk about, but the main reason why I'm running this stream is because we had a lot of intro streams like intro to HTML, intro to like web dev, Python. I feel like Python is really, really cool because it's used for web dev, AI and machine learning. It's a really big Python use because tools like ChatGPT were trained with languages like Python, automation, games, like Python is a very, very versatile language. And it's actually really nice because it kind of reads like plain English. If you look at some other languages like Java, not to rag on Java, but Java can be a bit verbose. But Python's really easy to read and it's supported widely and it's used in lots of different companies. So it is very cool, very versatile language. Just a quick reason as to why we would want to use Python. Yes, yay, hello, welcome, welcome. No, I am getting my tone. Is this Iro from MLH? This is sounding an awful lot like Iro from MLH. Python, JavaScript, Python. Python wins hands down. JavaScript is not as easy to read, and I'm not a big fan. But that is a quick intro into why we should learn Python if y'all were curious. Because I think it's a really good idea to go over why you should learn something before you invest 2 hours into it. But I think this would be a great investment. Feel free to tell me at the end if it was. If this is your first programming language or you're just revisiting the fundamentals of programming, just kind of think about it like a recipe. You're giving the computer a list of steps and your computer's following it exactly. It's like literally just instructions. Maybe some of you have seen that viral video where you like give somebody a peanut butter and jelly sandwich recipe and they follow it exactly to a T. And it's like sometimes people will be like, put the peanut butter on the bread, but then it's like you can't put it because you haven't opened the jar. I swear I'm not crazy. This is like a real thing that it was viral at some point. I don't know if I'm old. But either way, it just has to be very specific and very step by step, just like kind of how we write English. So that's kind of your primer into programming. Ooh, yay! We have two MLHers in the chat, two MLH coaches. Wow, what's 10 out of 10 luck? Iro, I think you should take a break. I think you just had a stream. Yeah, you just had a stream and you're about to have one after. Maybe you should go take a break, buddy. But thank you for joining. Very exciting. Yes, nice. Okay, so that's a quick primer for how programming works. Woo! We are going to get started. So like I said, we're going to have a quick reason why we should install VS Code and how to install Python. So I'm using Visual Studio Code. It's a really popular code editor. I think it's pretty useful. I hope y'all think it is too. You can use whatever code editor you would like, but I think that as you get further and further into your web development, it is pretty useful to use VS Code because it has a lot of built-in extensions. It has like live coding, live server. It's just a very cool platform. I am not getting paid to represent VS Code, neither is MLH, but it's just a very cool platform. And I don't really know any other good platforms, but yes, go take some rest. Yay! Go to Ira's stream after. I'll highlight it at the end, just like y'all always know that I do. Highlight the next event coming up at the end of every stream. So, yay! You have that to look forward to. It's a coach sandwich in between the streams. So we're going to check if Python is installed in our terminal first. So we are going to check if it's installed in our computer. So if you are on a Mac, that's going to be terminal. If you're on a Windows, it's going to be command prompt. And you're basically going to type in Python dash dash version. And if you're on a MacBook, it's going to be Python 3 dash version. So let me see if I can actually open that up and get that going for you. I did find a different way to start. Oh, okay. Looks like Waze actually already got it for us in chat. Wonderful. If you are a Windows user, you're going to use this first one. And if you're a Mac user, you're going to use the second one. If you're anything else other than a Mac user, use the first command. Basically, the only difference is one has a 3 and one doesn't. So, yes. If you see something that says like Python 3.12 and something like that, you should be good to go. Only if it's like it says not found or it's like a very outdated version, that's where you kind of have a problem. Hello, welcome in, welcome in. If you don't have Python installed on your computer, no worries at all. Here is a link to download Python. Normally, you like I think it's sometimes confusing as to why you have to download like a programming language when VS Code already has it. It's more just for support and to be able to run it in your computer. And make sure you download the latest version and check add Python to path during the install so that you can get all of the benefits that you need. So let me actually show you what that looks like. I was sharing a different tab, so it's going to take like 0.2 seconds while I get that up, but okay, so this is the link that I just sent y'all, and it's actually really cool. It automatically detects what operating system you have. So I'm on a Mac, and I'll just download that. But if it detects wrong, it has other operating systems that you can download with. And this is the most recent version. I know that the most recent version is 3.14, but you should probably be good if it's 3.12 and above because we're doing very basic Python development today. So the further updates are good, but they're not really needed. And you can kind of see how the different releases are going right now. So it looks like, yeah, we're still good for Python 3.12, but apparently it's in a security stage. But hey, at least it's not end of life yet. I should update my knowledge and get Python 3.14 apparently. But that's kind of where, yeah, 3.13.2. Yeah, that's good to go. You are all good to go. Thank you for running that command. As long as it's above 3.12, you're good to go. Actually, according to this, as long as you're above 3.10, you're good to go because there's still releases going on there. So hopefully that worked for y'all. Like I said, for those of y'all that joined us late, these slides have no information on them. I wanted to make the stream really interactive, so we're just going to be on VS Code or other web pages most of the time. The sole purpose of the slides is so that my face is not big, because if I remove it, here I am, and I don't like that. So that is why we have the slides, and so you can have a fun little graphic to look at while I chat with you about how to use Python. So with that in mind, hopefully you have already installed Python, and if you don't have VS Code, which is such a travesty, you should totally download it. And I am okay with people using different browsers, but I do strongly support VS Code as your browser of choice. So I will show y'all how to download that also really quickly. Here is VS Code, and you can just download it, install it like a normal app, and once you download it and open it, it'll open up like a clean editor screen. And again, we have the exact same thing as before. It automatically detects your operating system, so you can just go ahead and click download. And feel free to read all of this if you would like, but it's just telling you that it's a really cool IDE that you can use. So that is pretty much it for what we want to download straight out of the box. Let me know if anyone needs some time to catch up or if anyone has any questions with installing anything. More than happy to answer anything, but if there is not too much, I will keep buzzing on. So now I'm going to move into VS Code and show y'all how we can actually install some very cool extensions. So let me go to VS Code. Very interesting. It is not letting me share VS Code. Let's see why. That's a bit weird. It was just letting me do that. Give me a quick second while I figure this out. 3.9.6 is not ideal. Let me show you why. let me go back to that tab. So I'm not arbitrarily saying like version numbers, by the way. Oop, I didn't add it. There you go. 3.9.6, so that's this one. You can notice that we're in 26 right now. It is past end of life, which means that 3.9 is not getting any releases anymore. So if there was a bug or there was something key that's missing from there, you won't have that. It honestly should be fine for this workshop because again, we're just doing the basics. But I would recommend if you are planning to work on Python in the future, just go ahead and download the new version. It'll help you in the future, and it's also just always nice to have the most recent version of the software. But for now, I think it should be good. And if it's not, we can always help you add it later on. While we are waiting for me to figure out how to share my VS screen, which I've actually never had a problem with before. So this is a very, very interesting problem that we are having. So forgive me, please bear with me while I try to figure this out. And just so you guys aren't bored, I'm gonna put some background music on while I figure this out because I need to be able to share my VS Code. So just 1 second. Hey y'all, I am honestly not really sure what happened. I swear it was work. I feel like people always say that. They're like, it was working fine before, and then it just stops working. But I actually swear it was working right before this, which is quite unfortunate, but you know what? It's okay. We roll with the punches. Um, although this punch was quite unfortunate. Um, exactly. No, see, the problem is my VS Code is open. It's just the streaming platform that we use for MLH is just not accepting it, and it was accepting it just a minute ago. So like I'm really not sure what the problem is. I've never honestly, StreamYard has been so finicky this entire Global Hack Week. Like everybody's having oh my god, there it is. Dude, I'm honestly so good. There it is. Okay. I honestly I shouldn't get too cocky. That took me a really long time to figure out. Oh, thank God. Apologies. It looks like the reason why that was not showing up was because it StreamYard was just having some issues, but it is fixed now. So yay! Yes, the reason why I don't share my full screen is because I have been doing Global Hack Week since like a couple months now, and every single Global Hack Week, I accidentally like either dox myself or send some piece of information that I really shouldn't be putting on the internet. Like I put like my phone number out one time, my email one time. I had like some like documents that like should not be shown because I use my personal computer when I stream, so everything's just out there. So now I try to limit myself to only stream on one specific tab and not stream on my entire computer so that I don't dox my entire life because ideally people don't know who I am outside of streaming. So yes, exactly, exactly. Um, yes, true, true. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up a new file over here. I did. There you go. Okay. We're back. Let me increase the tab. I am never stopping this screen share of my wonderful VS Code. If I stop, I don't think it'll come back. So let's just leave that alone for now. But by the way, like I said, you should make sure that you not submit, sorry, download your VS Code, and we're gonna get started. So basically, I'll teach you the basic core programming terminologies, terms, whatever. And I know that hello world is like usually a really fancy thing and kind of a thing that you start off with when you are learning a new programming language. So let's go ahead and do that. So I just opened up a random Java or oh my god, random file here, and I've opened up a Python file. It's just .py. That's how you know it's Python. So I'll just say um, okay, and I'll just save this. I'm gonna save it in my downloads. I'll save it as demo and I'll put the date. See, there's another issue. Like I just doxed my file history. Like, see, this is why I don't do this. Anyways, I need to get better at that. That's okay. We roll with the punches. So we're going to do hello world, and like I said, it's very similar to English syntax. So we're literally just gonna type the word print. We're gonna put parentheses here because you need to put an argument beside print, and we're just gonna do hello world. The reason why we've got these brackets is because we need to include brackets whenever we're using any type of string. So honestly, that's basically it. There's no semicolon like in Java. It's just very basic, very, very similar. Yes, I can zoom in a bit. Sorry if that was a bit tiny for y'all. I'll honestly close the editors. We don't need that. Yes, also, if something is like wrong, if you can't see something, if something's not making sense, please speak up in the chat. I don't have to pin your question. Usually I do so that other people can learn from it, but like if you don't want me to pin it, I won't. I can just answer the question live. So please don't feel afraid to say anything. No one's gonna say anything. We're all beginners or learning things again. So don't worry about it. But basically, we are printing hello world. So I'm just gonna click this little press right here, and we can actually run the Python file specifically. So give me 1 second. My computer is giving me an error message. 1 second. Having lots of issues here. So I press that little play button in the corner here, and you can see that it printed out hello world. So that's literally it. It just prints out exactly what you need, which is super duper cool. There you wrote your first line of Python, which is very cool. This line is just telling it, well, it being the computer or Python to print the screen. And we can print out some like fun little things here. So we can print out whatever we want. So I will take, I'll take Dominosaurus. I liked the comment you made about my VS Code being too shy. I like that, and I think I'm going to use that from now on whenever my VS Code decides not to work. So I'm just going to say, hello, this, and how do you spell that? Dominosaurus. Okay, this is Dominosaurus. Dominosaurs. Oh my god. Source, there you go. This is Dominosaurus. Um, And we're just gonna hit save, and we're gonna play that one more time, and boom, it's the exact same thing. So printing in Python is very, very simple. Hopefully you enjoyed that, Dominosaurus. You can do whatever you want. You can make like a little mini story using like multiple print statements. It's just very simple. So that was kind of like the intro for print statements. So yeah, first Python program, hello world. And we can also do comments and readability to kind of give you some more structure for how you should be structuring your code. Yes, hello Python. Python says hello back. I love to see interaction in the chat, by the way. So please interact in the chat. Let me know if you have questions. Let me know if you have comments. One pizza for Python. Yes. I don't know if snakes eat. I don't think snakes eat pizza. Yeah, probably not. Maybe I don't. Maybe a snake has never been given pizza. I guess you don't know. Um, Okay, so normally y'all probably know this if you have coded in another programming language before, but as your program grows, you need to explain your code, and that's why we have these things called comments. So these comments are included in your code file, but they're not actually executed in your terminal. So we can try something, and we can put like a little comment here. So we can say like maybe, so comments are kind of like for your future usage. So let me say like, the above line is in reference to Dominosaurs, not a popular YouTube channel. The streamer from your stream on 10. So that's kind of a way that you can use comments. You can notice that if you're in VS Code, another reason why I like VS Code, it does kind of do the same in other IDEs though, is that you can actually have a little fun little comment here, and it changes the color, which is very fun. Yes, you are totally correct. My file name is that. A colon in a file name is best avoided. I was just panicking when I wrote this and I used the slash symbol, but you can't use the slash in a file's name. And you know what? You got me there. We're going to go ahead and rename this file. Actually, you are honestly right. I should be following good coding practice. So I'll just do Jan 10th. There you go. And we'll save that. So thank you for calling me out on that. I love when y'all fix my mistakes. It's honestly great. Thank you for that. So if you have anything after this comment, Python ignores it, but anyone else can see it. So like anyone that's reading the program. And you can say anything. Usually the comments are helpful for explaining what a specific piece of code does. Obviously, we know what these two lines do, but once you start writing more complex programs, you might want to have a comment before or after the program so that you know exactly what you need to have in that line. So that was a bit about comments and kind of readability. And next we're going to go move on to understanding variables. So I think that variables are really cool. If you don't know what they are, they're basically just, you can think of them like boxes that store things. So let's say we're going to explore the world of variables here. Feel free to just like hit enter and move down and work below. You can also make a new file, but I think it's fine to just leave it in the same file. Another thing is if you don't want it to print out hello world and all of this every single time you run the file, you can just comment that out. So you just put the hashtag symbol in front of it, and boom, it's commented out, and we can double check that over here. I'll save the file, I run it, and nothing comes. and nothing is the output, and that is because we commented it out, so the computer doesn't read that anymore. So if we want to have a variable, there are different types of data types. We're going to talk about data types next, but just in general, for variables, let's say we want to store a name, and we can put a name as maybe Jill. So for names, we usually think of them kind of as strings or sentences. And again, like we did before in the earlier example, we want to encompass these examples within double quotes. Similarly, like maybe we want to do age, and we'll do 25. Oop, I can't do a 5, let's do 23. So just like that, you can use these variables, and we were using print before, so let's try that again. So we can say, and like I have GitHub Copilot enabled here, which is why it's having these fun little code like autocompletes. I did that for another workshop, but we are going to ignore that for now. It's great to learn how to code with fundamentals without AI. So I'm just going to do my age is, and you can actually concatenate it. So if you have actually, let's do the name. I think the name is cooler, TBH. You can use this plus symbol here. So usually in the general public, if you see a plus symbol, it's mainly addition, but in most programming languages, if you have a plus, that means concatenation, which means you are combining two different things together. So we're going to do this, and we're just going to add the name variable here. We're not going to do age. We're just going to do a basic simple example. So let's try that. Ooh. That's fine. Oh yes, it's asking me to do a space so that there could be a gap. That's actually smart. Good job, AI. And there you go. It prints out my name is Jill, and that's actually really fun. It's not just going to print out the like phrase name. It uses that variable. So variables are just things that we can store, and this is how you reference variables within Python. So you can also just change the values and run it again. So let's say we want to change it to like Jillo or something. If you notice, it'll be changed in our output here again, which is very cool. It updates every single time you run it. So I told you we would talk about data types, and that is exactly what is up next. We're going to be talking about data types in Python. So we've actually got a couple of data types, and I'll actually show you examples of each and every one of them so we can get very hands-on and very interactive into it. Give me 1 second. It looks like my computer has plugged itself out of the wall, and I will be momentarily back. Apologies, my computer usually does not last for an entire stream, so I try to keep it plugged in, and it just broke apart from the wall. So to go plug that back in, but we are talking about data types. So there are a lot of different data types. We're just going to talk about 4 main data types that are pretty common in Python, and pretty much all you'll need for a beginner. So we already talked about string. So string is kind of these double quotes, and there is a way to check type. You just use the type function, and functions are just things where they are very long, like methods and lines of code bunched into a very simple name that you can call. So we're going to use that exactly. So we're going to do print. We're going to put type. We're calling the type function, and we'll put something like Bob. Again, using very generic names here. And also the point of this, and the point of me being in VS Code and not just showing you these examples on a PowerPoint, is so that y'all code along with me, which is why I try to have you download Python and VS Code. So feel free to code along with me and get involved. I would love that. So we print out the type of this, and let's do that. Again, we're just going to use these fun little hashtags so that we can not see this output every single time. Okay, we're going to save that. We're going to run that. And look, you have class str, which is correct. It is a type of string or str. Next, we're going to try integers. So y'all know integers, you love integers, and we're going to type the integer of maybe, okay, 23 is what AI decides. So let's see that. The type is int. Perfect. Int for integer. And let's try a decimal. So, I think a pretty famous decimal is 3.14, which is pi. So we'll try that, and that is class float. So we call it a decimal, but in the computer science language of Java, they call it a float. Mainly just because it's like a dot, it's like floating numbers. So that's kind of something cool that you can do. And the final type of data type that I want to talk about is Booleans. So Booleans have the value of true or false. Kind of think about it as binary, 0 or 1. And let's just set it to the value of true. So it's either just true or false. The first letter is capital, no double parentheses. So this is kind of going to be the singular time where you use letters and you're trying to print something or check something without double quotes or single quotes for strings or characters. So we're going to go ahead and save that. And boom, it says class bool. So you'll notice that these are kind of the shorthand versions of what I'm talking about. So I said Boolean, but it says bool. We have longer ways to describe things so that things are more clear to us. But for computer systems, concisity, being concise is better. So that is why we have shorter names. So it's super useful when you're debugging your code to be able to check the type of what you are using, because let's say you use this variable. So let's uncomment this, and let's say this is actually grade, and we want it to be a variable that can count decimals. So let's say you're trying to figure out how to run a different you're trying to figure out like how to build a function, but you are not sure how to kind of use this mathematics. Like, is it rounding? Is it including decimals? That's a great example of how we can use this. So we can do print, and we can do type, and we can do grade. So we can see, okay, what type of variable is this? And it tells us it's a float, perfect, which means that it is exact to the decimal point. So that's a cool example of how you can check for type. It is very easy to debug. Yes, you are correct. I am not using the Python and then the file name.py command. For those of you that don't know, if you're on a Mac, you can do Python 3 and then the name of your file.py in your terminal, and that will run it. And if you're not on a Mac, it's just Python instead of Python 3. I'm auto-running it by clicking on this little play button in the top right corner of VS Code. You can see it says run Python file, run in dedicated terminal, run as task. It's honestly just an easier way instead of typing that command or like hitting the up arrow to get that command again and again. I would definitely recommend using it. It's available in most terminals, not just VS Code. But I think it's a cool thing to use, and hopefully y'all think the same. Okay, so that's a quick introduction into the different data types that we have. And I know that this might seem a little basic of a topic in terms of Python, but I wanted to revisit the basics and make sure that we all have a solid foundation before we move into more complicated global hack weeks and hackathons for the 2026 year. Great, okay. So once we finished with data types, now we're gonna move on to working with strings. I think one of the biggest use of Python is strings. So specifically how we are interpreting different strings. So generally we use strings pretty frequently. Like we use them for names, we use them for descriptions of what something is, how we want an output to look. So we'll just go ahead and do that. And I also want to show y'all something else that is pretty cool. So I think you've been seeing how I do individual hashtags here. So actually the way to do it for multiple lines is to use 3 single quotes back to back. So let me show you how to do that. You do single quote, single quote, single quote, and then single quote, single quote, single quote, single quote. So there you go. That is a way that you can comment out your code. And let me actually just double check that because it is not turning the color I want it to be. So maybe it is double quote. Apologies. I have been on break for so long that my brain is just not working as it should. But, well, actually, let's just see if it works. Yeah, it doesn't. Okay, yeah, that's also a way to comment it out. I think it's just coloring it different for funsies. Technically, those are used for doc strings, which are kind of like strings that or not a string. They're kind of used as a description to describe a function or something that's going on, but we'll just use it in this purpose so we don't have to type a hashtag every single time. Yes, you're right. Single quotes or double quotes work, either or is fine. Okay, great. So now I said we were going to talk about strings, so let's go ahead and do that. So we had a string before, and I'll do another one. So actually, we don't have to do print this time, but I'm going to say our word is equal to, let's do streams. Okay. Oh, use single quotes. That is okay. Sorry, my computer's been really weird recently. I keep hearing like sounds like someone's talking, but I don't have any audio going on. Hmm, odd. Um, anyways, so we have our word here, and if we want to change every single letter in our word to uppercase, we can use the upper method. So, like I said before, methods are just methods and functions are kind of the same thing. They basically are something that you can call on your variable to get information about your variable and change that into something else. So, we are going to change it into a full upper word. So we're going to do print, and we're going to use our variable name, which is word. And you can see that once you do dot, it actually gives you all of these different methods. So you can call all of these methods on this word variable. So specifically, we are going to call the upper method slash function. So let's see what that does. It's going to convert it all to uppercase. So there you go. Even though the original word was in lowercase, it prints it all as uppercase, which is super cool. And you can do it for camel case as well. So I'm just going to copy that, paste that here. And camel case is where the first letter is capitalized. Everything else is under or lowercase. So we will use the capitalize method here and see what that outputs. And yep, it gives us camel case. First letter is capitalized, none of the rest of them are. And we can also check the length of a word as well. So we can do print length word, and then we save that, we print that, and boom, it gives us the number of characters here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 different characters within the word, and that's what it's counting, the characters in that word specifically. So you can also, something I think is really cool, is you can get input. So it's actually really fun in Python compared to Java, because Java has this like really weird like system.out.println, and it's like very verbose, very difficult to remember. But in Python, it's literally just the function input. So something that we can do for like funsies is we can do name and we can do input, and we can ask the terminal or technically the user like, what is your name? And we'll save that. So that is taking it into the input. So what it's basically telling the computer is put this in the terminal and store that into name, because you're taking the input from the terminal with that question. So with that, we can print, and okay, there you go. Let's use AI suggested hello plus name plus welcome to the Dominosaurus stream. So apparently, Dominosaurus, this is your stream, not mine. Um, I'm not sure what that means. If you could expand on what you meant here, I would love that because I'm a little confused. So let's see that input in action. So we can do plus. It says, what is your name? So I'm going to put Bob. And it says, hello, Bob, welcome to the stream. So it uses my input into that next print statement, which is super duper cool. And you can also replace, use dot replace to swap letters. I think that is honestly very cool. And I see some comments. Yes, it is listening to me. It is suggesting my code. I actually, it's not listening to me. It's because earlier here, I used Dominosaurus, and it just Copilot AI, not too intelligent. It just really thinks that Dominosaurus is running this stream, but it's actually me. Okay, see, Pleepy also needs the new line. Yeah, it's honestly pretty annoying. That's true. But We can use dot replace, and I think that's pretty cool. So let's set up a new variable and we'll do like hello world, just like how we had before. And this time we're going to use the replace function. So we're going to do greeting here, and in the we pass in greeting and we do dot replace. So, oh yeah, let's use the AI suggestion again. Sorry, guys. I swear I'm not like an AI proponent, but it has some good ideas sometimes compared to the boring things I was gonna do. So it will replace world with name. So here again, we can do Bob once again. And it says hello Bob, and then here instead of hello world, it says hello Bob again. Something more fun is like you can replace different letters with kind of like different characters. So this is something that I used to do in my programming classes. So you do Bob, whatever, and it like kind of censors it out. It kind of looks like a censoring, which is very, very cool. Yes. It is Dominosaurus stream. Welcome to Dominosaurus stream. Uh, I love the engagement in chat. This is great. But that's a couple of functions that we can use to take full advantage of the power of strings. So we're going to move on from that section and move on to our next section, which is user input and basic output. I really like previewing what I'm doing before moving on to the slide that I'm supposed to be on, apparently. So now we're going to formally talk about input and output. So since we already talked about input, I'm not going to spend too much time on that, but basically you just ask for input, store in a variable, and you can print that out too. And you can also use output as well. So you can use that input as output. I kind of covered the slide, honestly, with this. We can talk about it really quickly here, but you ask the user what their name is. You get the input from the terminal here. You store it in the variable name. And now you can use that input as output in your print statement. So honestly, that's pretty much it for input and outputs. Very similar, very easy. No, not similar. Very easy to understand in Python. Okay, so that was a quick slide. Now we're going to move on to operators and expressions. Also, this is like a very, I think, big crash course into programming languages in general. These are all concepts that you will learn and need to know in all programming languages. But what I'm teaching you now is just specific to Python. It can be similar for other languages, but it might not necessarily be the same. So while the concepts will be the same for most languages, just make sure you're checking the syntax because other languages have different syntax. So to go through some couple of operators and some expressions that we have. Mainly, we can use different operators like plus. So like, honestly, I think the only one that you really need to know for basics is just like the plus, which is concatenation. And then you have your normal symbols too, like multiplication, subtraction with your integers, and things like that. It's very basic arithmetic. It's very similar to how you write things in English. The only difference and only kind of like different context that you can use it in is when you use that plus for concatenation. Not only can you concatenate like a string with a variable, but you can also concatenate a string with another string. And concatenate here just means add two things together or like combine both things together. So now we're going to talk about some conditional statements. Ooh. So this is another thing. This concept is in every programming language, but let's talk about the Java or Python specific syntax. So I'm sure y'all have heard about if statements, if else statements, if you are avid programmers. But the syntax in Python is honestly very, very easy. So let's say for those of y'all in chat, give me a kind of boundary that we can use that is a number. So for example, if you are above 18, you can vote in elections. So give me a something kind of like a numerical value that has a upper bound, lower bound, whatever you want, and we can have some fun with our conditional statements. So I will wait for a response from my very active chat, my very active and loyal chat that I know will send me a message immediately. Boom. There you go. I love my chat. You guys are the best. Average 90 is an A. True. Okay, so we're going to set our grade to a 90. And we're going to say if, oh my God, not age. Grade we're going to say if grade is greater than or equal to 90, we're going to print you got an A. Congratulations. I like this. This is very student-minded, student-oriented. I see we're thinking about grades, which is honestly very valid. I need to think about my grades too. But this is a cool way that we can use if statements. So you can also put parentheses around these for more clarity if you want to kind of separate that, but you don't need to because it's very clear that the if statement is separate from these two operators and these two variables. So I was talking about operators and expressions. I mainly glossed over it because it's honestly the same thing that it is in arithmetic and in English in general. This greater than or equal to sign means the exact same thing in Python that it does mean in English or in math. So that's a cool way that we can use if. We do need to make sure that we are keeping our spacing though, so make sure that there's not like extra tabs or extra space in here. It just won't consider the if statement correctly. We have another one. You have to be at least 130 centimeters to ride the roller coaster. Okay, let's do that. So we have another fun conditional statement that we could do. So height is 130. So let's make this a bit more complex. And oh my god, it knows that we were talking about roller. Oh, who said that it was listening to me? Oh, I think it actually is listening to me. That's a bit creepy. Okay. So we're gonna say if that's actually so creepy. Okay. So we're gonna do if it's greater than or equal to 130, we're gonna say that it is possible to ride the roller coaster. Exactly, you're right. I have to run. Is listening to me? It's game over. It's honestly game over. So here we use if. We can also use else. So if, basically the way that conditional logic works is it checks if first and then it goes to else. So we'll do else here. And the reason why we don't have a statement directly following this else is because it'll check this first. And if that's not true, it'll just go straight to the else. If there's no else in an if statement, it'll just keep moving on. It'll check it. If it doesn't work, it just keeps going. So we have the else statement here, and here we'll print. Okay. You are too short. AI could never. So let's try that. And there you go. You are an A. You can ride the roller coaster. And actually, something fun we can do is we can actually ask the user what height they are. So we can do user, what is your height? Let's ask the user that. It says, what is your height? So let's say I am 160 centimeters. Oh. There you go. Okay. So here is an interesting problem that we ran into here. Is the colon a line terminator? No, the colon's not a line terminator. It might be confusing from Java because usually you use a semicolon to end the line, but the colon here is kind of used in if and else statements to kind of indicate that whatever's coming next is what you have to execute within the if and the else bodies. So you are exactly correct. The colon says do this after an if, else if, or an else. Could you create a calculator that stores the history, whatever the user has calculated? Yeah, you could do that. That goes a little bit more into complexities in terms of like how you're storing the data. Are you storing it in an array? Different types of data structures, which is probably something you'll learn in school or university, or honestly something you can learn online too. But yeah, that's definitely a cool project that we could explore in the potential part 2 of the Intro to Python series. So. But let's read this error here. So it says if height is greater than or equal to 130, you actually can't do that. It runs into an error because we are comparing a string to an int. So that's where our problem comes from. So this input method, if we hover over it, it tells us what the output is. And the output is a string. Dun, dun, dun. You cannot compare two data types that do not work or are compatible with each other. So the best way to do that is to cast. So we are going to put the data type that we want this variable to be, which is int, and we are going to cast it, which means we are going to surround our input with parentheses and cast the input to an integer so that the value that's stored at height is taking the integer representation of a string. Yes, usage of methods, and you could use list for different data structures as well. So let's try that now. And we are error-free this time. So we have 160, let's try that, and boom, it says you can ride the roller coaster. Let's try that again. Let's say you're 90 centimeters. You are too short, unfortunate. Hope you enjoyed that roller coaster example, Dominosaurus. That was for you. So that's a cool way that you can use conditional logic. And also we learned a fun little bonus here for casting, how you change between different types of data types for Python and similar to other languages as well. Something else that you can do that I think is really cool is you can kind of clean your input before you put it into these if statements. So let's say that you want to make sure that something isn't right. So let's say you want to check for a specific word. So let's actually try an example here. So we'll say best word. Oh, actually, okay. So the convention for Python is, and some other languages, is camel case, which is what I was showing you before. Or actually, I think it's called something different because the first letter is lowercase. I should probably know that. Anyways, yeah, that's for Java. You can do the same thing in Python. It doesn't really cause an error, but it's not the norm. Oh my God, I think my GitHub Copilot really likes you, Dominosaurus. Like it wants you to be the best streamer. But here we're actually going to do best color. Let's do best color, and we're going to set that as green. I love green, so we're going to set that as our best color. And here we can do if color dot lower. Oh, or actually, let me show you why we want to do that. So if color do best color. If it's equal to best color, we're going to do good. Only correct answer. Honestly, I'm just going to start typing my own answers and make it funny because like AI is kind of boring me right now. And I'll do else and I'll say print. I'm just going to because green's the only good color. Yeah, exactly. Apparently it's you, which is so interesting because I've never seen you stream. So it's time for you to start streaming. But this is a cool way that you can check something. So let's get the user input. So we are going to create a color variable here. And we're going to say color equals input. What's your favorite color? Oh, so here we're asking the user for what their favorite color is, and we're checking if it's green because that's honestly the only good color there is. Yeah, you are. This is so upsetting. Like I do streams, I run my Copilot through everything, I run my VS Code through everything, and it picks you over me. Like this is crazy behavior, honestly. But let's try that out. So I'm again going to comment out all of this so it doesn't just keep giving us this output. Not that it's bad output, but it's just kind of boring to keep seeing that again and again. So we've got our new section here. Let's try that out. So it says, what's your favorite color? Let's say I say green because obviously, oh, I think it's because I hit a space. Let's try that one more time. Yeah, okay. So you have to match the input very exactly. This is why they have different functions like strip or like remove white space, because if you notice here, let's say I put a space here and I put a space at the end, it doesn't count that as input. So similarly, let's say that I want to, green is my favorite color, but I just don't like using capital case. So what do y'all think will happen if I do green typed out like this? Do you think it will, what do you think it'll print? What do you think the output will print if I type in green in all lowercase? I will wait for the first answer from chat. Okay, I love the answers. I love to see y'all participating. Yes, it does print, bruh. That is true. So let's try that. We're gonna put green. No, but it's the right color. So that's why I was telling you that you can check what your input is before and kind of standardize it before you go into conditional statements. So actually here we get the input from the user, and now what we can do is instead of just using that input straight, we can actually do lower. So let's say no matter what the user's putting in, maybe all caps, they're doing one uppercase, a random uppercase here or there, it still takes all of the letters true. So let's save that and try that here. So I'm gonna do green. Oop. Oh, oops. Let's try that one more time. I left a random word there. And oh, I'm trolling, sorry. I'm like debugging my code right now. I basically had uppercase here. We want it to be all lowercase. So I'm just gonna put like random uppercase. My keyboard's going out of control. And there you go. It corrects all of it. So it's good to be able to check your input and kind of standardize it. And yes, you were one step ahead of the curve. It is Stilbra because that was not correct, but now it's correct. So that's a cool way that you can sanitize or clean up your input. So that was kind of conditional statements for if, else if, and else. L if is just else if, so it kind of goes if, so it does the first check. Else if is like if the if doesn't work, go to else if, and else is just if all else above fails, go to the else statement. So we can also do loops. So think about loops like a little circle. We can repeat things using while loops. So let's say you want to print out the numbers from 1 to 10. So we can do count. So let's again go back and do our standard thing of commenting these things out. Also, I hope y'all are following along with me in your VS Code because it would be very sad if I was doing this by myself because I can just do this on the slides, guys. I hope you're following along. But we're going to set our counter equal to 1. And we're going to say while counter is less than or equal to 10, we're going to print our counter variable, and we're going to do something called incrementing the counter. So you could honestly just do this, add 1 to the variable name, but you can kind of see how that's a bit long. So instead of that, we can use this fun and special operator plus equals, which does the exact same thing, but it's just much shorter and much easier to read. Yay! I'm so glad to hear that you're coding along. This is great. Hopefully you're all are gaining some great skills. So we can do that, and it's a nice little shortcut. Do y'all think this is going to work? Is this going to print out all the numbers from 1 to 10? I'm curious. Is there a mistake or is there not a mistake? What do we think? There's no wrong answers. I mean, there is a wrong answer, but like no one's going to be upset. Okay, you think it's gonna go over. Yeah, you don't think so. Okay, okay. I like these answers. I like these answers. Also, I love seeing the participation from the same couple of people, but like those of y'all that are still watching, keep coming in, keep coming in. You're right, you're right. But hey, you should be on your way to becoming a Python expert now, because you're hanging in, you're logging into this stream. The question was if you think this is going to print out 1 through 10 like it should, because that's kind of what we want this loop to do. Greater than. Okay, so it seems like the majority of you think it would not print out 1 to 10. So let's see if you're right. Unfortunately, you were all wrong. It does print out 1 to 10 perfectly. I think the reason why a lot of you were confused is because maybe you think once you get to the 10th value, it'll cut out of the loop. But that's why we have this greater than or equal to value here. So let's say we get to value 9. So like it's really nice to trace the way that the loop works. So let's say counter is equal to 9. Counter's been updated to 9. So here, 9 is less than or equal to 10. So we print out 9 and we increment the counter. Plus 1, that becomes 10. The counter is 10. 10 is not less than 10, but 10 is equal to 10. So then we print 10. Then we go to add 1 to counter. It becomes 11. but 11 is not less than or equal to 10, so it X's out. Now, if you think it would be less than, then if we took out this equal sign, it would only go 1 through 9. So y'all were pretty close, but you are getting well on your way to being good Python experts. I typed in funny, but it doesn't work my name. What is your name? It could be the space in your terminal. So if you ask a question, you should be able to put the space there. If you insert any extra spaces, it won't work. Also, I don't know if it was a typo, or actually, wait. Um, Yeah, make sure that you're not adding any additional spaces, either at the beginning or the end of your input, and that should work. Also, remember what I said that we want to use underscores in between different words for variable names as opposed to camel case, because camel case is kind of the convention for other programming languages, but not so much Python. But honestly, great work. I love this unique addition that we are getting here, 10 out of 10. Um, and actually, something I think even cooler is you can use this same logic to build like a password checker. Um, yeah, Dominosaurus has ultimate dictation over this stream now. We can so obviously different programming or different websites, different things check if your password is correct and what you're entering is correct. So if we want to do that in a simpler coding language, obviously they have like extra security checks and things like that. But if we want to simplify it, we can just make our own little fun password protector here. So I'm going to create a password variable, and my password variable is going to be very simple. Be Python123 because I love Python, and 123 is as simple as a password as it gets. So I'm going to go over here and I am going to check. So I'm going to do while. So this is my while statement again, and I'm going to do password, and I'm going to do this operator. So this exclamation and equals is equal to not equal. So anytime you see an exclamation point that's not used in a string or a character means that it's the opposite of what you see. So if you know in addition, you have the equal sign and then you have the equal sign with like an X through it. And that's not equals to. And that's basically the function of the exclamation point. So we're going to say if it's not equal to Python 1.3, we're going to say, or while it's not equal, we're just going to ask it to keep entering the password, and we can say wrong password, and we can enter the correct password. That way we can really shame this person that's trying to break into our program. Okay. Yes, you got my error there. I was missing a string at the beginning. I love when you all catch errors before me. It's very fun. I love seeing y'all so involved and checking errors. This is great. So this while loop is going to keep going, and once it exits out of this while loop, that means that the password has matched the input. So let's try this. Our mini password checker. Oh yeah. Well, it's not going to work because we have the input set. So we're going to do input, and we're going to do enter password. So it says enter password. Let's say I think it's like Bob78. Oh, it's the wrong password. Maybe it's Python. No, the wrong password again. Python 1.2 perhaps? No, Python 1.2.3. And it's the exact same thing as we were doing before. So let's run the program again and I'll show you something. So what if we did Python 1.2.3? Doesn't work. So if we want to do exactly what we did before, we'd want to do lower and keep it in our lovely little method there. Put the closing parentheses after because we're calling a method. Let's try that one more time. We're going to do Python 123, and there you go. So that's kind of a way that we can use different different methods that we're learning from different sections. Oh, did you find the area? I forgot to add the Oh my god, I love you amazing coders. You are right. I thought it was the space, and I was like, "Oh, it's probably just the space because I did that." But you are right. Oh my god, Dominosaurus, you're doing great. But yes, you are right. Yes, you're getting your kudos. Good job, Dominosaurus. Um, Yes, you definitely wanna make sure that you are using these curly braces or parentheses after you call a method, otherwise it won't count it as a method. So that's kind of Python's way of understanding that something is a method being called on a variable. Great catch. Um, do, 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 do. Okay, so we talked about while loops. Something really similar to while loops is a for loop. The difference between while loops and for loops is while loops just keep iterating until that condition is matched. So it keeps going until that while condition is matched. But with loops and for loops, you have a set amount of times that it goes through. Good. I hope you are. All of you should be so proud of yourselves for sitting through this stream. Honestly, I don't know if I would sit through this long of a stream to learn a new piece of technology. So genuine kudos to y'all. Sometimes I do this because like a streamer is like doing a really interesting topic and I want to watch, but I'm always like, oh my god, it's so long. But this is the best way to get content out to y'all. So I'm glad that you are happy. Let me know if there's any more ways that I can keep y'all excited and engaged throughout this stream. And if you need a break, just let me know. Yay! Okay, so we use for loops, and for loops kind of loop through different things. So let's try that really quick. So I know we've been using a lot of basic data structures. So someone was asking about a calculator before. So let's do a quick little data structure. So let's say we want to loop through the three most recent users that have sent me messages in the chat. So let's do that. So we're going to make a list here, and we're going to say users, and we're going to use these square brackets to indicate that we are making a list, and we're going to put them in strings. So avid code learner was our first one. Okay, Dominosaurus, it actually just has it ready for you. These are fake. Okay. Go away, Copilot. And our most recent Fun Milayo. Fun Milayo. Is that an underscore? Ah, underscore for great. And we're going to end with a square bracket. So that's our list. That's like a fun little data structure. Again, super easy in Python. It's just very similar to the English language. And let's say we want to loop through this list and print out all the users. So I'm going to say for, okay, we honestly don't have to do that. We can say for user in users. So what this means is basically for each value here in this bigger data structure, we want to loop through it. So this is a list. We have a list of strings. So we're saying for each user in the list of strings, so each user variable. Now you might notice that we did not declare this variable before, but this variable is being used now because we're going to use it in the for loop. Ooh, pronounced Fumilayo. Fumilayo. Okay, so the N is silent. Fumilayo. Fumilayo. Okay, great. Fumilayo. Fumilayo 4. Great. Okay, so we're gonna do for user in users. Yeah, and let's keep what Copilot suggested. That was actually pretty good. Welcome to the stream. Sounds great. So we'll do that. And there you go. It prints out your usernames for that for loop. So if we had the while loop, it could be like while the count is equal to 3, because we know that we're looking for the most 3 streamers, stream watchers, chat watchers, audience. But here we use the for loop because we know that we want to go a certain amount of times, which is just the length of the users. Oh, yeah, like yeah. Fumilia. Okay, great. Thank you for telling me how to pronounce that. I love when people correct my pronunciation of their names or their tags, because you should be able to get your name or tag pronounced the way you want. Hello, good morning. What is the time in IST now? 5:46 a.m. Oh my gosh. You are a warrior for waking up early for this stream. Thank you for joining us. So that's kind of a fun little way that we can do for loops. And we already talked about functions. That was my next slide, but we kind of already went over that. I'm jumping ahead of myself here. We also did talk about lists. Yeah, we talked about functions. You just want to use those two parentheses after the function, and you can add different things too. Like you can add different actually, yeah, let's talk about functions. We can talk about parameters, which I think are very cool. So we have built-in functions like the one that we used here, which is like print, or we do dot lower. But let's say, or actually those are methods. If we want to create a function is something that can have the name, overarching name, and it will have what we need underneath that. Still not exactly, but thanks, Fumilia. What was I saying before? Fumilia. I hope that's right. Fumilia. 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 Yeah, I think that's right. Fingers crossed I was right this time. But we are going to use a function. So I've been using function and method kind of interchangeably, but they are two different things. A method is something that you want to be able to use on a variable. So what we did before, like the dot lower here. But a function is something that we can use to define a certain type of action that we want that can just be used over and over again instead of coding that action over and over again. So let's say we want to make a greet method. So instead of just saying hello over and over again, we can do def. Def is how you start a function. So you can't just put like function name and move on with your day. You want to have def, so like definition, because you're defining the function to tell the system, to tell Python that you are declaring this function. So we're going to say, just call it greet, and we're going to put in name, and we're going to pass it in, and we're going to say print. And we're going to say hello. And again, we're going to use that concatenation. We're going to put a space here so we can have that hello. And we're just going to end it there. We're going to do a little exclamation point for funsies and do that. And that's all you need for the function. It's basically that, but you need to actually call the function. And I think something really cool about Python is that you don't, it's not like other language, I'm like really ragging on Java here, but it is not like Java where you have to have like a different like public static void main class to be able to call your functions. You can just do it in the same file. So here we can just do greet and we can do Amy. Let's try that. There you go. There is our cute little function. It works as intended. I'm going to delete that space because we actually didn't need it. And that is a function. So we are calling the function and we're passing in the parameter of Amy here, which is very cool. And that's kind of a crash course into functions. And functions are really useful because they are the foundation of reusable code. You'll use functions everywhere in your coding life. And it's honestly pretty cool. So, okay, we have some time left over for a fun little game project that I want to play with y'all. So I'm going to give y'all the option. I was thinking about what would be really fun and easy to code in the next couple of minutes. So let's check. Should we play a Mad Libs game, so build a Mad Libs game project, or build a typing test? So, if you are unaware about what those things mean, Mad Libs are basically you have a predetermined story, but you insert different words throughout the story to make it more interesting. So let's say you have a story like once upon a time in a blank, and let's say you put in the adjective or the noun like in a like building or something like that. And they are called Mad Libs because the story can become very interesting and very funny because when you are putting in the different words into the story, you don't know where they're going to be. So it can be really fun to see the differences. And if you don't know what a typing test is, you're basically just typing in sentences and you're counting the number of words that you're able to type per minute or characters that you're able to type per certain time. So let me know in the I say comments. Let me know in the chat what y'all want. We can either do Mad Libs or we can do typing tests. If either of my explanations for that didn't make sense to you, please let me know, and I can help try to explain it a little bit better. Yes, I am so glad that you asked me this question. Functions are similar to methods. The main distinction between the two of them is that methods are things that you can use on variables. So we made variables like name, and then we did name dot lowercase, well, name dot lower. That's what a method is. For a function, you have this little def before it, def, definition, that helps you define the function. So functions are something that you yourself are creating and that you yourself are able to use within your program. So hopefully that helped you a bit. Yes, of course. It does sound complicated, but I think that we will more than be able to finish it by the end of the stream. Y'all have been powering through, chugging through, and helping me debug all the problems on stream. So honestly, y'all are doing great. So I definitely think we'll have enough time to finish it and show off some of your work too. Main reason why I went with Mad Libs and typing is so that y'all can share what you get. If we do Mad Libs, you can share your fun little story. And if we do typing, you can show me your typing scores. So, okay. We have a Mad Libs in the chat. We also have a typing in the chat. So I need some more input from our chat that is watching so that we can get more input so that we can figure out which one we can do because we don't have time for both. Yeah. So something really cool is that you don't have to like have a memorized list of what methods are available to data types. So let's go back up to an earlier example, and where we created a variable. So over here, let's do a string. Where was an early string that we did? Okay, hello world. Okay, we'll just do this. So we set the name to Jillo. So if you want to see what type of methods are available to data types, so for example, the variable name, we know that that's a data type string. And if you want to check that, remember, we can check the type using the type method. If we want to use different functions on this, we can do name dot, and dot is exactly how you can refer to different methods that you can call upon the data type of the variable, which in this case is string. So you can see all of these different methods. You see capitalize, you see like is decimal, checking if it's a decimal, lower, remove like r split, you see strip, swap case, all these different methods that you can count on these different data types. So hopefully that helps a bit. There's great Python resources that I can share with y'all at the end to kind of expand your Python knowledge, but that's a great way to get started, just like playing around with the methods that are available to you in VS Code. I do need a little bit more interaction from those of y'all in chat. We have one vote for Mad Libs and one vote for typing, and the longer that it takes for us to figure out which one we get to do, the less time we'll have to finish the project. So I don't want to let y'all leave with an incomplete project, but if you are not able to come to a consensus about what we're doing, we might have to. So put your opinions in the chat. Okay, typing. Typing is currently winning. If you do not want that to happen, make sure that you put your votes and thoughts in chat. Y'all got it. Y'all got it. I will give you a couple of minutes to put your thoughts in chat, and I'll play some music while I'm waiting for that, but it's only going to be like 2 minutes because I want to make sure that we have enough time. So put your thoughts in chat. You have so much time. Okay, lots of comments coming in. Oh, coin toss. No, we have the vote of the people. Typing, typing, typing. Okay. I think we should do typing. No, we're not going to do a coin toss. I wanted to ask y'all what y'all wanted to do because I want to do what the majority of people want, and it seems like the majority of people want typing. I'm very sorry to Fumila. Unfortunately, we are not doing Mad Libs, but I think you'll find typing just as fun. Great! I'm glad to hear everything is going awesome so far. Yippee! Typing it is. Typing it is. Great, good sport. So we talked about functions, we talked about all of that, and now we're going to do our little mini project. So let's go ahead and go back to VS Code or whatever code editor you're using. We're just going to go ahead and go through all this code, and we're going to create our fun little typing game. Woo! So we are going to do a couple of things that I haven't talked about before, but I will walk you through exactly what each and every one of those things are. So we're going to import two different things. We're going to import libraries, and libraries are basically things that you are, it's like a collection of methods and functions and variables and all these different things that you can use that people have already coded and set aside for you. So it's actually very cool. You don't have to make something new or remake something. You can just use these libraries. So here we can do import, we can do time, and we're going to do import, and we're going to do random. So this might seem like, oh my god, like why are you putting this in? This is so weird. Like we haven't talked about this. Don't worry, it will make sense in time. But if you haven't been following along so far, because maybe this is something that you know, I strongly encourage you to follow along with us now so that you can have your own little typing game in your terminal and have some fun with it. So please type along with me, enjoy this game with me because I want to compare typing speeds at the end. So we're going to import time, and then we are going to import random. Okay, so we are going to put in some sample sentences. So we're going to use our little friend over here, the comment, and we're going to do sample sentences just so future programmers know exactly what this is for. So we're going to do some sentences, and these are the sentences that we will need for our typing test. So we will actually just use exactly what AI has given us because I don't want to be typing out thousands of sentences by myself. So I will put this in chat for y'all. Please note that you don't have to use these sentences if you don't want to. It's just easier and more time efficient for us if I use what AI has given to me and give it to you as well. So hopefully that is easy to copy for y'all. For those of you in YouTube, here it is as well. The perfect got cut out, but hopefully these sentences are a little bit easier. It'll give you a random one. And hopefully they're useful. And if y'all have any feedback on these sample sentences, maybe you don't like it, give me feedback and we can change the sample sentences to just how y'all like it. So we've got our sample sentences here, and we're going to have a fun little section here where we're going to do our prompt. So we're going to do initial prompt. So the reason why I'm using so many comments, by the way, is because I really want to structure our program and teach y'all good code design. And part of good code design is separating your sections and having comments to separate the different sections. So we have our initial prompt here, and I'm going to say, so we're going to do print, and I'm going to say, yeah, welcome to the typing speed test. That's going to be our first sentence, and I'll tell the user, here, you will get a sentence to type. And then I'll do another statement here, another print statement, and I'm going to say, press enter when you're ready. When you're ready. And we're going to do we're going to do \n here. And the reason for that is because it sees this little single quote, and it gets a little bit confused because it sees that different punctuation. So that's what we use \n for. It helps us kind of escape out of those things, and it creates a new line for us. So these are called escape characters, and they are basically used to kind of be used as a way to kind of get out of output. So here we're just going to enter in a blank line, basically. So it'll say these three statements, and then there'll be a space in between. So we are going to then do input, and we're going to ask it to press enter. So we're going to do press enter to begin. And we're going to take that input and make sure that that input is the enter. So, we're going to pick a random sentence, and that's why we imported the random library earlier. So we're going to say sentence, and we're going to set that variable equal to random.choice in the sentences. So that might seem like a pretty complex statement right there, but I got y'all. I'll walk you through it. We made a variable called sentence. We are using the random library, and we are calling the .choice method on the random library, and we're passing in the sentences list that we made earlier. So basically, it's just saying choose a random element from the sentences. That's all that we're doing there. Yes, of course, I can explain the input. So we'll talk about the input, like specifically how it'll count that you are pressing enter in just a little bit, but it will start once there is input that we are able to double check. So I got you, no worries at all. Sorry, things just tweaked for a second. Is sentences an array? So it's similar to an array, but in Python they're actually called lists. And that's kind of what the data structure is called in Python. I do think arrays and lists are kind of used interchangeably, I want to say. Or actually, wait, I don't think they are. Um, hmm. Okay, so I think they are basically the same thing. They both use the square brackets. I think the only difference is that with arrays, they have to be the same data type. So you can only do like 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, like all same data types. But with lists, you can actually do different data types. So you can do like a list within a list, plus a sentence, plus a name. So lists are more versatile, but arrays are less versatile. So we went ahead and did that over here. We picked a random sentence, and we are going to put here, we're going to put print, and we're going to tell the system, we're going to do our \n once more so we can do it on a new line, and we're going to say, type this sentence. And we're just going to put that there so that we can go ahead and get that. And then we will print that sentence exactly so that it sees you're going to type this sentence and then it prints out that sentence too. Yes, of course. Please let me know if you have any more questions. So we're going to do that and we'll have that ready to go. And I showed y'all that you can do this to create a new line, but another way to do that is you can just print and not put anything within the parentheses, and that'll also do another new line. So we've got that. And the reason why we imported the, oh, actually, let's do one more of these. So I said press enter when you're ready, and let's do the exact same thing here. I'm going to change this to when you're ready. Because now we've given the user their sentence and they need to like read through it really quickly, get familiarized with it, and then whenever they're ready, we'll get that input from them. So we're going to start our timer. So this is our section for the time library. So we're going to put start timer here. and we are going to start time. So I'm going to do set the start time. I'm going to make a variable called that, and I'm going to do time.time, which is, I think, a pretty funny phrase. But here we are using the time library. We're using the time method on the time library to get the current time. And you can see that by hovering over that name, it returns the current time in seconds. So it's currently marking what time it is right now. And after that, we are going to take the typed inputs and we're going to take the end time. So here we'll say typed input and we'll store that and we'll say input, and we're going to say new line, start typing. And we're going to put another new line at the end so that we can have a nice little arranged, put the wrong slash, my bad. We can have nice little delineated lines for you. So we started the timer, and let's also make sure that we keep track of the end time. So the end time will be set to, again, time.time to get that new current time. So we've done that. And now let's go ahead and calculate time overall. So this is our total time. So we're going to do overall is equal to end. So we have our end variable, end time, minus, and this is why I like VS Code. It knows that you had these variables declared before, and you can just click on that. So saves down on a couple of typing times. And we can say, we can actually use that same variable name here, and we can round it. So I think it's cool to use a rounding, especially when you're using the time library, because it returns it in like a crazy amount of digits because it's like counting every single second. So we're going to pass in these two parameters. We use a comma here because the round method has two different parameters, like you can see here, the number and the number of digits that you want. So here we want to round overall to 2 digits, so to the hundredths place. So that's just a cool function that I think helps you be able to work around it a little bit better. So we've calculated the overall time. Now we're going to calculate the words per minute. Calculate words per minute. And with this, we're going to say count is equal to the length of typed input. So what did we call it? Yeah, we called it typed input dot split. So I think someone was asking earlier about the different methods that you can use for different data types. So here you go. Here's another method that you can use for the string data type. The split method basically, like it says here, returns a list of substrings in the string, which basically just means it's returning different words within the space. So since we aren't passing in a separator value, it just separates on white space, which is the space in between the words, which is exactly what we want. And it'll just count the number of white space words that you put in. Then we are going to set the words per minute equal to the rounded value. Remember, we don't want a crazy high value again. And we're going to set this to count divided by, again, our overall value divided by 60. The reason why we're doing divided by 60 is for that minutes that we wanted. Great, so we are calculating the words per minute there. Wonderful. And let's count the typing errors as well. So here we're doing typing errors. So see, the reason why we do comments is because it's so easy. Like now obviously this is very easy logic. You can clearly see kind of what I'm trying to do, but the comments are very helpful for longer programs where the logic might not be as obvious. It's really nice to have a comment that explains just like top level what you're trying to do in that segment. So we're going to count typing errors character by character. So this is a little bit more of complex logic. I really wanted to add some fun little topics and some fun little complex things for y'all in this project so you can learn more. But we're going to go ahead and set our errors equal to 0 because you start off with 0 errors. And also, by the way, please let me know if I'm going too fast or not explaining anything well enough. I want to make sure y'all understand as much as possible. So we start off with 0 errors, and we're going to use our for loop here. So we're going to say for character, so we'll do char instead of character because char is a little bit smaller. And we're going to use a range here. So range, again, is a method that we can use to start from one end to the other end. And it's very cool. I think it's very fun to be able to go from like one to whatever variable you want to go to. So we're going to pass in two different parameters because we want it to start at a specific value and end at a specific value. So we're going to take the minimum of the length of the sentence. And the reason why we're doing this is because that's the minimum that it could be in terms of the characters that is possible. And the max is the typed input. So oh, okay, I don't want the AI. We want to think of the logic by ourselves. Too many codes at one time. Your brain's not braining anymore. I'm so sorry. No. I was kind of trying to build up to this, like try to go progressively faster. I hope it's not too fast for y'all. If I am going too fast, please let me know. But I'll try to zoom out a little bit. So if y'all are a little bit behind, you can catch up. And hopefully those comments are helpful for y'all. So if I am going too fast, you can go back to those comments, refer upon them, and like understand what that's saying. But if you missed something or you're a little bit behind and you don't understand something, please just put it in chat and I would love to explain it to y'all. Like, I'm totally okay with going back. But I'm just going to keep powering on so we can finish this before the next stream because, you know, we've got a stream coming up at 7 o'clock and I don't want to run over. So we have for each character in this range. Oh, actually, we're not going to do character. We're going to do I. Because we want to go through the range, not the character specifically. So we're going to check something. So we're going to say if the sentence, and look at this new notation, I'm using square brackets and a number. So the way that you can access different characters in a string, you can use the substring method to get specific characters, but I think an easier way is to get it by the index. So let's say you have a word like length. The letter or the character at index 0 is L, and like 1 is E. Yeah, for sure. I can paste it on a Google Doc and give it to y'all, for sure. I'm not really taking it from anywhere. This is kind of coming from my brain. But yes, I can definitely put it on a Google Doc and give that to y'all in a little bit. So we'll check this out. If the sentence, if that character is not equal to what the user typed in, so typed input bracket I, then we're going to add 1 to the amount of errors, again, using that plus equals operator. So that is the typing errors. And then we want to add a specific penalty. So on some websites, some typing test websites, they add a penalty if you're wrong, like you type in extra characters or you miss a character. So let's do that too. Basically, we are going to add to the errors value, and we're going to take the absolute value because we don't know which is going to be higher. And for absolute value, you just do ABS and you take that. So we're going to take the length and we're going to take the length of sentence and we're going to subtract that from the length of the typed input. And this way we'll be able to get the overall amount of errors. So we got that. We are almost done, folks. Thank you for chugging through this with me. I'm hoping that we get done with this by 6:50 so that we can power through. This is honestly the last thing that we have, but I want to make sure that y'all get some time to share your typing speeds with me. So we're going to do results, and we have 3 different results that we want to display. So first we want to do let's start off on a new line so we don't have all this crazy typing above us. And we're going to have total time. I forgot that. Oops. Okay. We have total time. And we are going to put a space here and we're going to do this and we are going to take the time, and remember the time is not in a string format, so we will want to convert that, and we'll take the overall time and we'll add in sentences or seconds. There you go. It'll print that out for us, and then we'll do the exact same thing for words per minute. So we'll do printing and we'll just do typing speed, and we'll do our same thing here. We'll take the words per minute. So we'll convert that to a string again, and we will do space WPM so you can know, WPM there. Someone types gemography instead of that's true. Yeah, that is true. It's kind of a rudimentary typing test. Definitely there is more ways to improve it, but this is kind of the easiest way that I think it can be done in a short time. Because y'all had some great questions and y'all had some great feedback. So it took a little bit longer than I was expecting, but that is a-okay. We will have a very rudimentary typing test. But that's what websites like Monkey Type are for. They are built perfectly just for us. So next, we are also going to print out the errors. So here we're going to do total errors, and we'll do our space again, and we'll do plus, again, converting it to a string and doing errors here. So that's our total results. And that is basically all we want. We can do a fun little thank you message at the end too. We can do like, oh, thanks for playing our typing test. Yay! Okay, so that is basically it for what we want to do, and I will make sure that we don't have any other, well, yeah, we're good. Okay, so this is our typing test overall. I'm actually going to go back up a little bit, so if anyone needs the other stuff, I guess you don't need that. Yeah. Um, and we're going to make sure that it works. But before that, does anybody see any errors with this code? Is anything perchance wrong? Maybe I'm trying to trick you up and ask you a trick question, or maybe there are no errors. I don't know. Oh, and actually, I you there you go. You got one of the errors. Great job. So specifically, we want to loop over a shorter string. So this is kind of a logical error here. This would work, but we want to get the minimum of either the length of the sentence or the length of the typed input. So we just didn't have an extra parentheses counting these arguments within the minimum function. Oh, working fine for somebody, but not somebody else. What is this? Int object is not iterable. Doo doo doo. Not sure what's wrong there. It does look exactly the same as mine. Put that extra parentheses in, and I think that'll work out for us. And let me make sure. I do believe that is all correct. Okay, great. So it seems like it was working for somebody. So let's see if it works live for us. And then I'll get y'all's typing speeds. Okay, so you will get a sentence to type. Please enter when you're ready. Press enter to begin. Okay, I hit enter. Type this sentence. Coding is fun and rewarding. Press enter when you're ready. Okay, I'm ready. Oh my god, that's so cool. Look at that. It gave me everything that I wanted. It gave me the total time, it gave me the typing speed, and it gave me the total amount of errors. That is so very cool. I want y'all to try it out and see if it works for you. Again, I am stressing this is very much not a perfect code. There's like a couple not really logical errors, but you could make the number of enters lower. You could calculate word per minute in a better way. You could catch edge cases, like if you possibly divide it by 0 or something like that. But this is just a quick and easy way to do a typing test. So I know those of y'all are watching the stream. So hopefully it is working for you. And if it is, please tell me what your statistics are. Just copy and paste the output there. So there you go. I'll just copy it for y'all. And those are my stats. So please feel free to let me know what your stats are. And Dominosaurs, I hope that fix of putting the extra parentheses helped you out. If not, let me know and we can troubleshoot some more. Brain's not working. Oh no! Okay, don't worry at all. That was a kind of built-in error to see if anyone would notice it. But yay! Okay, great. Total time 20.23. Words per minute 15. Errors 0. Great job! Great job. Okay, so we have our first success story. Woohoo! Okay, Leonard is up next. Time 7.55 seconds. Words per minute 48. Errors 1. Oh my god, great job! Y'all are killing it. This is so cool. And this is honestly the really cool thing about learning programming languages and having these interactive streams with you is so now you're leaving the stream not only having the basics of Python, but now you've coded a very cool project. This is your first project in Python, and this is a whole project. So very cool. I hope y'all are proud of yourselves. Does anyone still need the code? Because I think I've had it up for long enough that you don't need it. And hopefully you've caught up, but let me know if someone still needs it. And because I prefer you just type it out now and get it done with. 6.58 seconds, 46 words per minute. Okay, number of errors 6. Great job. Great job. I like your words per minute. Oh, yes, please post the code. Okay, I will make one right now because I will forget if I don't do it now. Online editor text over RustPad. Oh, wait. Aha, I got it. Okay. I will copy what we need. Yeah, I basically just don't want to make a Google Doc because I will not maintain that. I'm gonna have it expire in 8 hours. Let me know if you think you need more than that. And here is our link for our magical typing test. So if y'all want to get the source code for that, please, again, keep in mind that this is not like tested source code. This is things that I came up with on the fly. This is not an example of an ideal typing test, but just an example of something that we can come up with on the fly. It's something that y'all would be able to do once you start getting more and more into the world of Python. That is great. I love that you got that sentence, as it should be, honestly. It knew your VS Code is listening to you. Great. Okay, 17.85 seconds, typing speed 30 words per minute, number of errors 1. Great job. Great job. Yeah, see, this is the problem. I did mention that the calculation of words per minute isn't as accurate as it could be. Standardly, you should check divided by 5. So if we actually want to fix that, we can fix that right now. We can go back in our code and go to our word per minute here. And you can just get the length of the typed input overall. And you can divide the count by 5 here because you want to be able to count it and divide it by 5. That's kind of usually how the words per minute are calculated, like characters divided by 5. If you notice on like most popular websites, that is how it is. We're going to surround this by parentheses just so that we can make sure everything is being counted, divide it overall by 60, and that should be a little bit more accurate. So let's actually try that one more time and see if it's more accurate with this new change in mind. Enter, enter, practice. It's perfect. It's a faster typing speed, so maybe that did work. Fingers crossed, but we shall see. We shall see. That's a new little entry that you can use as well. Yay, wow! Do error, int object is not iterable. Yes, this is the same issue that someone had before. Make sure that you have the correct amount of parentheses. So you need a parenthesis here, you need two here, and you need 1, 2, 1, 3 here, because basically we are getting the minimum value of the length of the sentence and the length of the type input. We want the smallest value there to iterate over. Exactly, you're a Pythoneer. And yes, Dominosaurus has it correct. Great. Okay, looks like it went up. Oh, typing speed 0. Oh, not sure what happened there. 44 errors. Oh my gosh. I think you might have switched your variables around there. But I am so glad to see all of this engagement. So great. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I think either some calculations are wrong or maybe you switched around some variables. But I don't want to take up too much time because you do have another stream coming up at 7. So thank you all so much for coming by. I have a couple things that I want to get on your heads before you leave. So if y'all enjoyed this stream, if you enjoyed me as a streamer, or if you enjoy Global Hack Week in general, please make sure you fill out our feedback form. We would love feedback from you to help make Global Hack Weeks more useful for you. After all, that is why we run them. And on the topics of Global Hack Weeks, check out our schedule for more streams just like this. We're running a lot of intro streams this week. In fact, we've got Intro to Java coming up right after this. That one's being run by Iro. You might have just come out of his stream before this one. I think Iro was doing Intro to HTML and CSS before this. So check in for that link and just keep on stream to go for another stream. But that's pretty much it. I'll put this link back up if y'all wanted it for the code. Again, strong disclaimer that this is not an example of perfect code, but this is something that you can use. And that's pretty much it for me. I'm gonna put this away and keep the code up just in case anyone's still working on it. But that's pretty much it for this stream. Sorry if it was a little bit rushed at the end. I wanted to make sure that we don't go over, just because I don't want to go over. But yes, of course, thank you so much for coming. Yes, it's Voshini. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate you spending 2 hours with me. Okay, 19.27, 34 words per minute, and error of 1. Good job. Yes, thank you so much, everyone. I love seeing your thank yous. Thank you for coming. I'll hang around for the next minute to see if anyone needs anything. But if you do have any further questions, just put them in the Discord, and an active ML teacher will get back to you soon. But I loved hanging out with y'all, and I loved getting to spend these 2 hours with you and teach y'all a little bit about Python. Hopefully you had some fun too, and you had a lot of fun building your first project. I think almost everyone on this stream was able to build a project. So honestly, think about that. You learn a whole new language, the basics of a new language, and you built your own project just in 2 hours. So great job. Great job. Okay, 27 word per minute, 4.5. Great, great. Exactly. Time flies so fast with Python. Yeah, so we don't do specific streams in the feedback link, but if you liked this stream, you can say like, oh, I loved the intro stream by streamer Varshni, or just, I love this stream, I like the streamer, just because there's so many streams that we can't put that in as an option, but there'll be a section where you can put comments in, and if you want to, feel free. But that's it for me. I'm gonna log off so Iro can start his stream, but thank y'all so much for joining. I honestly had a blast. Y'all were so engaging. Have a great day. Have a great night. Bye.